Hi, I'm Duke Nukem, and you're watching GR TV.
When you started out with Godfather II, what kind of lessons did you learn from the first game, and what did you want to achieve with the second game?
Right. Well, one of the first things we did is that we sat and we looked at all the reviews, all the postings, all the emails we got from the fans, and we actually took a breather. We thought about what did we do well, what didn't we do well. One of the things that stood out that we really got rewarded for was the black hand combat and the ability to grab people, manhandle them, throw them around, strangle them, toss them everywhere. People loved that. They loved executions. They loved strangling people. People really felt like we allowed them to be a thug, to sort of have that fantasy of being a really evil person. What we didn't do so well is it never really felt like you became the Don. So in this new game, we're really focusing on how do we make people feel like the Don, and we're doing that in a few ways. You get to recruit your own family from the ground up. You get to control your resources at all time using a new feature we're calling the Don's View, and you actually get to command your crew in combat.
So it's more of a strategy game this time, or would you say so?
Well, at its heart, it's really still an action game. It's still about fighting, about extorting people, about having conversations with people, about collecting favors from people in the various cities. But what we wanted to do is add an element of strategy so that you're managing what your family does, so that you're managing which businesses you go after, which crime rings you're trying to collect, so there's a motivation for how you're advancing in the world.
Story-wise, in relation to the first game and the movies, where are we and what's going on?
Well, we're not talking a lot about the story, but what people also loved about the first one, and we're going to keep doing again, is that they love the way that we didn't retell the story of the movie per se. What we did is we told your story, and we made sure your story intersected with all the moments that you know and love from the film. So in this one, for example, you get to be in the mob meeting in Cuba where they're dividing up the resources and the revolution comes. And the first thing you get to do actually is get Michael out safely from Cuba. If you happen to, need a way to blackmail a senator and get a bloody hooker in his bed, you might have something to do with that too.
It seemed like The Godfather was it put a lot of strain on the team. I talked to a couple of guys who worked on it, and it was postponed a little bit and it was hard to work. Has it been different this time around?
The first one was definitely a labor of love. Doing an open world game is hard. It was way harder than we thought it was even going to be. We learned a lot of lessons. We learned a lot of things about what's important for us in our game. We're not going to try to do a million different game mechanics. We want to do what's important to being a member of organized crime. What's the heart of being a member of the mafia? That's where we want to focus.
So are there any things that you've taken away that you said that this didn't really fit into that in the first game?
Well, one of the things that we're doing differently is we're building our world in a completely different way. Last time we had one giant city. This time we're going to have 3 smaller cities, which are much more gameplay appropriate. I'll give you an example of something that people didn't like. They didn't like commuting in the world, from driving from one place, driving 5-10 minutes to another location in the world. People don't like that in real life. They don't want to do it in a video game either, shocking. So we're making the cities as small and dense and gameplay appropriate as we can to really let people just have fun playing the game and not worry about driving anywhere. So 3 cool smaller cities that all feel different instead of one giant city, big for the sake of being big. That's not what we're about this year.
So when can we expect Godfather 2?
You can expect Godfather 2 in February.
Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, you're very welcome. Thanks.